I did an update of the Troopy in Dear Diary number 10, and I just want to include some of that, maybe even all of that, in this update in the Rise of the Troopy, just in case you didn't see it. But I had a call from the panel shop yesterday, and he left a message to give him a call back. When I called back, his phone went to voicemail a couple of times, and I didn't or wasn't able to get hold of him. So I'm guessing that he's calling to say that he's nearly there or is there or whatever it was, but I didn't hear from him, and that was Friday. Today's Saturday, and he's a sensible tradie. He only works Monday to Friday, and he only works, I think, 9 o'clock or something until 3 or 4 or whatever. You know, he makes sure he has a quality family life as well as his working life. So I believe that he said he likes to spend time with his family or his kids, and so of course he ensures that he goes to pick them up after school or drops them off or whatever it is that he does. Anyway, I'm gathering though that we're either very close to, if you have a look at these pictures, very close to or near the end. Now, just a bit of a rundown on what's been done since I bought it back in 2024. So it's had new did you see that dude taking a leak? Look, everyone does that. Well, I'm sure everyone does. If not, well, then you're probably weird. But I do, and quite possibly I'm a subject of a YouTube video as well. Say, look at that idiot taking a leak. Anyway, where were we? Oh, that's right. It's had a bunch of stuff done to it since I got it. You know, with me tinkering about, I took off all of that, the roof rack and solar panel, spare wheel, cleaned up some of the rust areas, stripped out the interior, did a complete service which included the timing belt, water pump, all the hoses, all the belts and all the filters. And that's not quite finished, in that there is still the splash guard to go on underneath, stone guard to go on underneath. Otherwise that's complete. We had the air conditioning regassed and serviced. It went off to Eric and had all of the springs, shock absorbers, brakes, bearings, front swivel hub rebuild, and so on. So underneath, you know, just completely all new. He went through and he checked all of the fluids and topped up where necessary. I think he said in one of them there was water in one of them, but he drained that out and refilled. And that's almost inevitable, I suppose, you know, when you get a car like this that goes through water, because the breather hose is on top. Now it should be rerouted up into the engine bay, but often isn't. And so they suck water in when they go through water. Anyway, he drained it out, he replaced it. He also replaced the power steering pump. And then it has gone off to the panel shop, and they have pulled out the screen, replaced the screen, replaced the rubber, and fixed all of the rust. Now, I showed you all of those pictures in Dear Diary, but let me show them to you again just in case you missed it. And I've had a couple of updates since via photographs that the panel beater has been sending me, and so I'll share some of those with you. You'll see that he's replaced, as I said to you, section by section, that front damaged or rusted panel where the windscreen goes. And they do it with a series of small welds. So rather than just put a bead of weld down, which can tend to do two things. You know, one is to warp the metal because it's quite thin, you know, it's only panel. And the second, of course, is to generate a huge amount of heat. And with the dashboard being right alongside, there's just a real risk of melting or burning parts of the dashboard. So they have to apply small amounts of heat and then just eventually build it up, then grind it back. From there, they seal, they primer, they paint, they whatever it might be. And it's currently, as you see from these last couple of photos, been masked up for painting of a couple of those other spots, a couple of which, as you know, I'd tackled. So the one on the top, just above the gutter, the one in the lower rocker panel, and then the other one on the other side, which is the one that we did a terrible job of patching up, where the tyre had let go and torn a chunk out of the metal. And so he's going to sort that out too. So you can see the rust was fairly extensive, and Aaron has done a fantastic job of cutting out and replacing with steel in the proper way that it should be done, rather than just, as I've often done, just patched it up with fiberglass and or body filler. So I'm pretty confident about that. Now, I can't guarantee that rust won't appear or reappear anywhere else, but I'm certainly confident that it won't reappear under the screen for a long time. Now, of course, we come to the part about paint, and I've spoken about potentially keeping the patina and spraying clear, but I kind of like the idea of a total refresh, and it'll also give me the opportunity to practice some spray painting skills. Now, I've done some spray painting, and not only with spray cans or rattle cans, but with spray guns. But I wouldn't say I'm an expert. But I did buy a good gun, and I bought that when the roof of the other Troopy was painted, but I ended up getting someone else to actually paint it, so the gun's never been used. So I've got that gun there, and I've actually also got some paint from memory. I'm not sure exactly how much I've got, possibly a litre, you know, kind of enough, I suppose, to do the roof. And Aaron has done the first part, or the front part, I should say, of the roof. But it'd be nice to finish that off down to gutter level. I've got some seam sealer to go in the gutters, and if I then paint the whole roof, let's come to a main road, 1 second, just bear with me. But I did talk about, and I don't know whether I've discussed this with you previously, but I did talk about in Dear Diary potentially looking at two-tone, so painting the roof white and the rest of the car a different colour. Now, I had a look at that fellow, I think it's Andrew St. Pierre, and I'll link to his video where he's talking about doing a similar thing to an older Troopy, of painting the roof white and the body a different colour. Now, he talks about a couple of classic old Toyota colours, and these of course are on the FJ40 45 Troopy, and the two colours that he spoke about were olive green, dark olive green, and cadet blue. Now, I do believe there was another green as well, a more pale green, but both of those colours are appealing to me, but I'm leaning towards the dark olive green. Can I do it? Well, the difficulty I have is that I can only do a closed door respray, so short of stripping the whole car, that is pulling all the glass out, all of the carpet, all of the interior, all of everything, I can't really do an interior paint, so it will only be, you know, what they call closed door respray, so that is just the exterior. But of course you'll then have a two-tone door, a different colour inside than outside. Does it matter? Well, probably not. It's a 30-year-old car, and does anyone really care if it's been resprayed at some point? Well, I hope it'll actually improve the look. So they probably will care in the sense that it looks pretty damn good. At least we hope. Then the other question, I suppose, is should we then do that colour in that tub liner? What's it called? Raptor, which is that textured paint that they use in tub liners, which is super hard, super resistant to scratching. So, for example, pinstriping, you know, if you go through dense bush, and also a matte finish, so you don't get the gloss. And interestingly, that matte look seems to have become more common if you have a look at some cars, say particularly the Land Rover Defenders, but I've seen it on other cars as well, including the Ram. I think the Ram has one. Anyway, prior to painting, what I'd like to do when I get the Troopy back, and I'm hoping that maybe that's this week, is take it on a bit of a shakedown trip. Now, I'll be completely ill prepared in the sense that it won't be fitted out inside. I'll get myself a you know, one of those inflatable camping mattresses. I've got things like the gas cooker and some pots and pans and stuff which I can use. I could just pack up a box of food. I've got a fridge which is sitting in the bus at the moment. I bought a new one of those. Anaconda had a special on, believe it or not, on fridges, and they had two for the price of one. So for $900, I think it was, I got two 45-litre fridges. Now that's the same size as the one that was in my other Troopy, which is a 44, I think, from memory, so a similar size fridge. I don't have the power in the rear, But how hard can that be to run a temporary cable, if necessary, into the back just in order to power the fridge? Well, I guess we'll discover. I've got cabling in the shed, so we can probably do that. So I guess the point is, though, where do we go on that shakedown trip? And I've got a couple of destinations in mind, and one is the Carnarvon Gorge, which I think is about a 700 or 800 kilometre trip from memory, from Brisbane. And I believe most of the road now is actually sealed, though there are a couple of crossings. I believe that they're culverts rather than actual crossings. But I've never done the trip, so that could be an interesting one. Then the second option is to go to somewhere like Quilpie. So Quilpie or Carnarvon? Well, let's think about that, and I'll get this uploaded, and thanks for watching.